Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm going to be starting a new series on budgeting, how to budget, what materials that you need to budget, how to continue budgeting, how to plan for trips, how to plan for future long-term things, like maybe you're going back to school or maybe you want to get a car, how to get rid of debt or eliminate debt, or the process of eliminating debt. And I'll be showing you in this specific video what tools, what things that I refer to when I'm budgeting. So what kind of got me to budget in the first place, what type of things that I use when I budget, and I hope this helps. I hope this series helps you out. The next video that I post on budgeting will be strictly me breaking down how I used to budget or how I am budgeting. Right now I don't have a steady income, so we'll get into that in the next video. But I wanted to get out there how to budget, what materials that I use personally that have helped me be successful in budgeting, how I was able to travel as much as I did last year, and I hope this works out for you guys. So stay tuned. First things first, guys. I personally think that having a good foundation on budgeting is so important. What materials do you need? How can I get these materials when I'm on a budget? What can I do to improve my credit score? What can I do to decrease the amount of money that I owe on loans, or the amount of money that I owe the credit card company? So what I did was I kind of researched the best person to kind of guide me through this process of figuring out how to budget, and that person is Dave Ramsey. So Total Money Makeover is one of the books that I got from him, and this book is to build your money muscles, and it's a great book as far as him teaching you the best ways to do things, how successful they've been for other people, what we can do better, how to pay off all debts like cars, like houses, and things like that. So I definitely suggest looking into some of Dave Ramsey's books. I have two of them. They're currently in my car. I only have this one, but I'll try to link down below what other book that I've used to reference. And I mean, they have been great in just defining budgeting, and he gives several examples, several testimonies of how it's been successful for other people. So you might be able to relate to some of the stories that people have been able to put in the book. And I personally like it. It was an easy read. It wasn't too frustrating. I highly suggest taking notes when you are reading the book, just because it's a lot of information and you want to make sure that you keep it organized and straight so that you're not getting confused with the different terms if you're not used to that type of thing. I was not used to that. So my pastor came out with a book called Solving Your Money Problems, and his name is David Crank, and he is my pastor, and he came out with this book on financial success and how to escape the debt cycle. So he kind of gives his own perspective on how he's become as successful as he is currently. Him and his wife were both millionaires until they went into ministry. So he definitely knows how to handle money. He runs 4 or 5 churches. I can't even remember how many churches we have, but my pastor is very successful, and so I trusted him. And it's also from a Christian perspective. So if you are looking for something a little bit more in alignment with your faith and your beliefs, then this is a great book. He does have some reviews on the back if you just needed some little validation or credit. So it's Solving Your Money Problems by David Crank, and this book is also great. So he also references the Bible and the different examples in the Bible that have demonstrated how to manage your money or how to be successful in eliminating debt and increasing savings and generosity. So this is also a good book. So, but I mainly refer back to Dave Ramsey. So I do his zero-based budget. So what that means is every dollar, every cent, every penny has a designated place to go. So when I was getting paid every 2 weeks, I would take all of that money out of the bank and I would put it in a safe deposit box. So what I would do is I would take that money and I would break it down into several different categories. And so the next video will be how I broke down my income and how I managed to do that, how I went to the bank, how I withdrew the money, because I mean it was like over $1,000 sometimes that I would just draw money out. And so that could look very sketchy to some people, but I always kept money in the bank account just in case I needed to use my card for something and I ran out of cash. But let me share with you some of the things that are going to be very helpful and help you be successful in budgeting. Okay guys, I tried to break it down as simple and clear as I possibly could. So first I have expenses up here. So what are your expenses? What are the things that you owe? These are your bills, your loans, your debt, your credit card payments. You need to be able to write down everything. That's your Hulu account. That's massages if you get them. That's gym memberships if you have them. And be able to write down everything so you can go in your bank statements and actually look if you have online banking. And be able to look at what is being taken out of your account every month, every week, every day. See what, what you're spending your money on, and try to write down everything that you can possibly think of that you know of that you're paying for. And this will also give you clarity on if you are still using things or buying things or purchasing things that you didn't even know that you were still buying. And that could be like magazines. You ended up signing for a subscription that was free for 1 year, and then it's 2 years later and you didn't even realize that $5 was coming out of your account. So that helps you just like figure out like what's going on in your bank account, because I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily look at my bank account every single day. Some people get alerts or whatnot every time they make a transaction, but not every time that a transaction was withdrawn. So just be mindful of that. Maybe you can start to set some alerts on your phone that sends you when things are going on in your account, so when you are withdrawing and when you are depositing as well. So income, you need to write down what money you earned, and income is just strictly money that you earned. So if you know that you make $500 a month, and you know that that's just from your job, your part-time job, and then you make $1,000 every 2 weeks from your full-time job, so that is $2,000 a month, and then $500, so that's $2,500 of income. But sometimes you Uber, so I know that income can definitely fluctuate, especially if you don't have a salary job, but maybe you have an hourly job. Sometimes it can fluctuate, and we'll talk about that in the next video on how to estimate or try to figure out how much money you've made or you're bringing in to pay for your bills and things like that. So you need to be able to write down your income, whether that's Ubering, you waitressing on the side, you help someone every week, you shovel some snow for a couple of months. Like, what is your income for this upcoming month, for this upcoming time? Savings. What do you have in savings? Do you even have a savings account? I would try to call your bank or figure out if you have to put down some money, or there's to have to be a certain amount of money to put in your savings account, or if you have to keep a certain amount of money in your savings account in order for it to remain active. I personally had to go and do that. I thought that I can do that from my computer at home, but I actually had to go in and open up a savings account. So definitely something that is super important, especially if you are trying to work on long-term goals or just have that extra blanket of security. What is all the way down here underlined is the emergency fund. Dave Ramsey talks about this a lot. He definitely puts a lot of emphasis on an emergency fund, and emergency fund at least has to be $1,000. So he definitely wants you to tackle that kind of first. He wants you to be able to have an emergency fund just in case your car breaks down, or just in case you have to go to the hospital, or just in case your air conditioner goes out and you need it to get fixed, or something happens and you need that type of money right away. You need that type of liquid money. That's what that emergency fund is for. So you'll be able to access that money as soon as possible, and then once you take from that emergency fund, you'll put it back in. So you needing an outfit for a date or a dance or something is not considered an emergency. You need to be able to have money set aside for things like that, but that's not an emergency. Emergency fund is strictly for emergencies, like when your car goes out or you need a new tire because you've got a flat, or your air conditioner went out and it's 105 degrees outside and you need air. Like, these are things that you absolutely definitely need, not when your friends call you and say, hey, I want you to go out. No, that's not right. So, due dates. When are your bills actually due? Do you know when your bills are due? That's important information to know, to make sure that you're not paying any late fees, because that's money on top of what you don't have. So if you're constantly late, you constantly don't know when your bills are, then I suggest doing due dates, or figuring out if you are automatically getting your bills taken out of your account. How much are they usually? Are you double checking to make sure that it's accurate and right? Just because it's from the company doesn't mean that it's always right. Bills. That goes along with your expenses and your due dates. So just making sure that you're keeping up with your bills, making sure that your documents, that you have your documents for your bills, that you are making sure that they are in a safe place, that you can reference them when you need to, and kind of keep track of your expenses during the winter, and your expenses during the summer, and your expenses during the spring. And it's like, you know, prices fluctuate, gas will fluctuate throughout the year. That's something that you can control. But typically I like to keep my receipts just so I can go back. And also it's beneficial for taxes when you need them. I'm not 100% sure on taxes yet, so don't quote me. But and then you also need to write down things that you need, things that you're going to need. So like if you're a college student, you're going to need books. So you need to be able to write down things like that, aside from bills. Some of the things that you don't necessarily think about. So things that you need, groceries. That's not typically a traditional bill, but you're gonna need groceries. You're gonna need gas. You're gonna need, you know, like, yeah, you're gonna need things like that. So make sure that you actually are writing down things that you need. So these are the necessities that you need on a day-to-day basis. So getting to work, having gas in your car is a necessity. Having food, that's a necessity. Make sure that you have water, that's a necessity. Not just necessarily making sure that your lights are on, because that's obviously a necessity, but that's considered a bill. Things that you don't think about that are kind of outside of the box. Those are the things that you also need to be writing down. And then you also need to write down things that you want. The things that you want to do for fun, whether that's taking a trip to Mexico, or going to Disneyland, or going on a little road trip, or buying yourself something. Write down the things that you want, and write down the prices of how much they usually cost. And that also goes with the things that you need. Kind of estimate, kind of look at those receipts and reference them and see how much you typically spend on going out to eat, or typically spend on gas a week or a month or every 2 weeks, or typically spend on your groceries, so that you know kind of an average of what you're spending on a week-to-week basis. And then that's pretty much it for right now. I'll get more into detail about other things that will be important to know and things to write down. But these, I think, are kind of like the staple things. So expenses, your income, your savings, the due dates to the bills, the things that you need, and then the things that you want, and then an emergency fund. So it's really important to just be able to see and prioritize and actually like assess, like, okay, what's going on in my finances? How can I make them better? How can I improve them? And how can I get rid of this debt? So we're gonna go into more depth and detail about this and over the next videos. So I'm gonna share with you some of the materials that I've been using the past year in order to get rid of my debt, and to also just, it's fun for me. So I'll show you in this next clip what's coming up. Okay, get rid of that agene. So like I stated, guys, these books are, I suggest getting some books. These are good materials to reference. I personally like Dave Ramsey. I think that he's obviously very successful. He's had a lot of people follow his plan and be really successful. If you look at any other video or YouTube on video on YouTube, you'll see that a lot of people like Dave Ramsey's method. I haven't really come across a lot of people who did not like it, and those people who did not like it didn't stay with it long enough and didn't really give it a try. So I definitely suggest that you find some of his books, maybe buy a couple of them, or see if someone else has them and you can borrow them or rent them, or go to the library. I think they're at the library, and be able to rent these out. This is my lovely pink portfolio. This is my lovely pink portfolio. It is absolutely the cutest thing. It's pink and it has gold trimmings, and it just has this little button right here so that it stays closed. And what I do in this is that I keep all of my text papers, I keep all of my bills, all of my receipts. It's pretty thick in here for references so that I can go back. So I keep all of my paycheck stubs and everything goes in here. So my bills, all of my organization things, like me writing down some of the things that I have to pay for, the due dates for those things, and if it changes, I just add a new paper in there. So I'm not necessarily continuing to add more and more stuff to it, but yeah, I definitely have a portfolio, and you can simply get a folder. You don't have to necessarily get something as like fancy as this, but getting a portfolio is definitely something that is, I think, a necessity. Making sure that you are managing and keeping organized with all of your bills, and then you can just separate it, like bills, paycheck stubs, gas receipts, grocery receipts, car maintenance, and things like that, so that you can keep all your receipts all in one place. They're not scattered around everywhere or crumble up, but they're organized and kept well in here. So that's that. A planner. Guys, you had to know this was coming. A planner is definitely something that is super duper important. I talked about due dates and bills and knowing when they're due and knowing when you're getting paid and things like that. And that's what this planner is for. I mean, I use it for other day-to-day activities, but it's definitely for also just keeping track of when I paid my bills, how much it was, when the next one's due, how much is gonna be due, and I keep organized of all of that stuff. So just writing down the due dates, days that I paid things, days that I went to the bank, so that I'm pretty much keeping track of my steps and making sure that I'm not going crazy or losing my mind and things like that. So I definitely suggest getting a planner because it is definitely helpful, and it's helped me out personally, so that I know when things are coming up, when things are due, and if I've already done it, and checking things off. So definitely use a planner. So guys, with a zero-based budget, you are going to have to take out money. It's just inevitable. Like, I don't know how you would do it on a credit card or a debit card. Like, you shouldn't even have a credit card, but I don't really know how you would do it on a debit card. So like I told you earlier, I take money out. So I just got this off of Amazon. I think I got it for like $15 or $16, maybe less than that. And what I do is I put my money in here. So let me show you guys. Wow. And you'll be able to see that I keep a lot of my change in here. I have some euros in here. I have some euros in here from when I went to Greece. And then underneath, I have envelopes of cash. And I also got these off of Amazon. And I just got them with the different colors. And what I did was I put a piece of tape on there. You can kind of see it. It says gas. And I wrote gas on there. Actually, this one doesn't have tape on it because this is never changing. So gas is on here with the receipt in here. And I have one that says like Starbucks and clothes / shopping. And then this one's empty because it had Christmas gifts in here, money for Christmas gifts. And this had my Hulu with a little note when I had previously suspended my account saying when it was going to be turned back on. And stuff like this, like I have school in here because I pay for school out of pocket, and like medical for co-pays. So I just got these off of Amazon and I just wrote on them. I have about probably 20 something of them. I got 2 packs. That's what I've been using in order to keep my money safe and sound. It's definitely ways of just keeping it safe. You can get a more secure one, like a safety lock that you see in the movies. You can get an added padlock on it. So it just depends on what you want, what your preferences are. I know that nobody in my house is gonna steal from me, so that's also what I use. And then I'm not an RC person, so it was very hard for me to try to make budget slots, budget cards. So for Christmas, my friend had asked me, you know, what we wanted. We had Secret Santa and we had to write down what we wanted, and I wanted some budget cards. So I'll show you how this works. So this one says travel because I like to travel. And you can also get these made already with the words on them, but my friend ended up buying some stickers and writing it on there, and they open up at the top so that your money can go inside. So as you save, it can just go in this envelope, and it's all done. It's laminated so that it stays protected. You can put it in your wallet so that you can travel around with it. So you can take it around with you if you have a purse or a larger bag or just one of those long purses. So I have my tithes, my eating out, my groceries, my gas, my car, like car maintenance, shopping, and medical, and then a personal one. So someone made these for me on Etsy, and my friend ordered them online. You can get them in different patterns, or you can figure out how to make them yourself. I think that's gonna be my next task, is figuring out how to make them myself so I can save some money just when these wear down a little bit. And they come with also a larger pouch to put in so you can keep them all together. But at some point, this pouch isn't gonna work because you're gonna have lots of money in it, okay? So these are also good to use to stay organized as well, so that you know. The ones that I just showed you in the safe deposit, but they were kind of long and flimsy, and they didn't fit in my wallet, so it was always kind of awkward sometimes to just whip out a bag full of money. So this is like more secure and secretive, so that people don't just know what it kind of looks like. You're just pulling out a wallet, you know. So that's what I like about those. Of course, you're gonna need some pens to be able to write down in your planner. You're gonna need some markers to write. You're gonna need some markers to write on your board if you like to visually see this. Some people can hang this up on their wall or on their refrigerator or whatever, and be able to see like gas, electric, TV, Wi-Fi, you know, and write down all their bills and stuff down, and be able to, you know, do columns or rows with how much they are when they're due and things like that. So it just depends on the type of person you are. If you're not a planner type of person and you like whiteboards or a chalkboard, go ahead and do that. If you like to get those little paper ones that professionals have, that you write on, you tear it off and you can like stick it on something, do that. Do whatever makes you the most comfortable, what helps you stay organized and what helps you stay focused. This is just my method. I'm just showing you one way. And then, of course, if you are a techie savvy person, if you, like I just said, are the type of person who does not do well with paper, you don't do well with writing things down, that's okay. If you have the capabilities and the resources to scan your receipts and put them on the computer and organize them in folders and put them on your computer and do an Excel sheet for your bills and your due dates and tracking your debt, go ahead and do that. Teach me. Teach me. So that concludes my video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it worked out for you. I hope that you were able to take some pointers, some tips, some tricks, and be able to use them for your own budgeting skills or your own process, or be able to take away something that I said. Like I said, the next video will be kind of breaking down further on how to budget, what that would possibly look like. I use a scenario and we will work with that. If you're a college student, if you're married, if you're single, if you're saving for something as simple as just a road trip, or you are wanting to save money to buy a house or just get rid of your credit card debt, we will work on that together. This will be a whole series on my channel, so make sure that you are subscribed so that you get notified when I am going to be posting something new. I'm going to be doing a lot of different content, but I really wanted to do this budgeting, especially for people of my culture and my heritage, like black people, black girls, black women. I want to empower you to be able to take charge of your finances, to take charge of your responsibilities and the things that you want to do, and be able to obtain all your goals and dreams. So it is definitely possible. I'll definitely give my little testimony on how successful it's been for me doing this budgeting, and how I was able to do all the things that I wanted and more. So I hope that you guys enjoyed. Make sure that you comment, you like, and you subscribe. Thanks.